Hi fans of high quality entertainment. So I already did this video and I actually uploaded it and I was going to be posting it tomorrow. And then I realized I'd missed a couple of albums from my 12 favorite albums of all time. And so I had to redo the video. It's that simple. So at one point I had 3 Beatles albums, and by the way, usually when I do this it's like per artist, but this time it's like, you know, I could choose 12 Beatles albums. So these are 12 of the albums that mean the most to me in my life as of now. Most of them, you know, I've been listening to for years and years, but there is one or two that are, you know, more recent. Okay, so these aren't ranked, believe it or not. These are just, and like I said, yeah, just going through my CD collection, all of the albums I have here. I took my time. This last time I think I kind of rushed it with the video. And like I said, I was missing a couple of my favorites. So I had to ditch one Beatles album and a couple of others. So yeah, there's some missing, like Johnny Cash's American 4, The Band Comes Around, one of my favorites. Frank Zappa's Hot Rats, almost made the list. Can. The Beach Boys. I love the Beach Boys, but none of these 12 albums are a Beach Boys album. So here we go, in no particular order. This was the first album I ever bought by this artist back in 1976, and as soon as I heard it, I was a fan. And I now have all of his albums, and this is definitely, well, I have so many that are my favorites, but if I had to pick one, it would be Lou Reed's Coney Island Baby. I have played this hundreds of times. I never ever get tired of it. This one I didn't include in my previous video, and that's why I had to leave off the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That kills me to leave it off. But I wanted to include the Velvet Underground, and I love all 4 of the albums with Lou Reed. But once again, if I had to choose, this would be my favorite with Sister Ray, White Light, White Heat, Lady Godiva's Operation. I just love it. And surprisingly, as some of you know, I'm a big fan of Sparks. Ron Mael, the keyboardist, this is one of his favorite albums. Way to go, Ron Mael. On my Patreon, I have 2 Patrons. One is a radio show. I just uploaded the 19th 2-hour radio show. Please check the links below and check out the different tier lists. And on my other one, I do song and album reactions. And just the other day, I did a album reaction. I have over 100 album reactions there for Bob Dylan's Street Legal. And I really liked it. I gave it, no, you have to become a patron and you'll find out what I ranked it. But I did like it. But my favorite Bob Dylan album is Slow Train Coming. Once again, it's one of those albums I've played many, many, many times in my life. And not that I'm religious, I am spiritual, but Mark Knopfler's guitar work on this I love. Bob Dylan, I know we all kind of joke about his vocals. He sings his heart out on this album, and I love it. Okay, this band I became a fan of in 1970. 1974. I always kind of think it was 1975, but it was 1974. And so I bought their third album. It took me a few listens to really love it, but I love it. Then I bought their first two, and for some reason, and I have their whole discography, and for some reason, their debut is the one album I have played the most through the years, hundreds of times. Blue Oyster Cult. She's as beautiful as a foot. She's as beautiful as a foot. She Everybody turns off the video. It's the Beatles. I don't have to, I'm including the Beatles' Abbey Road. Probably my #1 favorite album of all time, along with the Beatles' White Album. So there's two together. But I love all of the Beatles albums. Some of you might be surprised that I've only included one album by this band. But it's just because, I love more than just one band, even though they're my second favorite band of all time. But I had to include Sparks, Kimono My House, the very first Sparks album I ever bought. I could have easily chosen Propaganda, Indiscreet, #1 in Heaven, The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte, their last studio album, which is excellent. But if I had to choose one, this is my favorite. And even just recently, I used to kind of think Complaints, In My Family, and Equator were were not quite as strong as the other 7 songs. And, I think I was kind of influenced too by reading or other fans talking about it too, and even Martin Gordon, the bassist. But the last couple of times I played this, I think those 3 songs are as good as the rest of the album. So it's a 10 out of 10, man. Now this is a more recent album, but I just had to include this band because I've become a major fan of them. And I basically love all of their albums the same. I love every song. But if I had, once again, if I had to pick one, at least for now, it would be their debut. Ween, God, Ween, Satan. And it originally had 26 songs, so it's a double album. And this is the deluxe version, I guess you would call it, with 3 extra songs. And I just love Ween so much. I know it's a stupid name, but I would say that Gene Ween and Dean Ween, which are their stage names, I've listened to hundreds of bands and solo artists in my life. I think they are 2 of the most talented. They're right up there. I think that Dean Ween is just a very underrated guitarist, and Gene Ween, I just love his vocals. So they're a crazy band, but they're just so talented. Ooh, this one hurts. It was between 2 albums, and I always consider Paul McCartney's Ram his best album. And it's his best album. But these are more my favorites than best. And when I really, really think about it, and I think this is underrated, Paul McCartney's Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. It's, he's not looking for hit singles or anything on this. Radiohead's producer, I forget his name at the moment, but he kind of pushed Paul. I don't think Paul was always happy about that at the time. But this is a more serious album. Paul's vocals are just so good, and the songs. It takes, more than a listen or two to take it all in. The first time I heard it, I thought it was just kind of boring and okay, but once again, I've played this a lot since buying it. Another one of my all-time favorite artists. And this album, once again, one of my most played albums through the years. Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller. And it's kind of a long story, but he originally made an album called Bat Chain Puller, but he couldn't release it because of issues with the record company and Frank Zappa. And a few years later, in 1978, he re-recorded most of the songs from that album and released this. And later, a few years back, they finally released the original, which is excellent. But if I had to choose, it would be this one. Two more to go. I'm not a big blues rock fan. I've done, a few song reactions on my Patreon and enjoyed the songs or the videos I've seen. And I guess it's because I bought this when I was young. I was like 12 years old, and you connect more with, I don't know, certain albums stay with you in your life. And this one I have played hundreds and hundreds of times, and I never get tired of it. The great blues band, Canned Heat, and I've got a few of their early albums, and this will always be my favorite. Hallelujah. What's that? No prog yet? Oh, there's a prog album. You might have heard of it before. No, it's not Close to the Edge. It's Tales from Topographic Oceans. Yeah, this is... I love Relayer too. I almost picked Relayer. But this is it definitely is a hard album to get into. You're not going to love it the first time. You might be bored to death. You might think it's really padded. But through the years, I've just slowly appreciated it more and more. And I'd say for the past 10 years or more, I love this album. And in fact, the last time I played it, and when I do play it, I play the whole album. And the last time I played it about a month ago, it just really, by the end of the album, it really got to me emotionally for, John Anderson's vocals and just the music, Chris Squire's bass. And so, yeah, I love Tales from Topographic Oceans. There, I'm much happier with this than the video I did. It sucks leaving out some Beatles albums and Sparks albums, but I love these albums so much I had to include these. So thank you for watching. What are your 12 favorite albums of all time? Let me know in the comment section below, or do your own video. Yeah. Bye.